Welcome back. Now, the Namibian Buses and Taxis Association, NABTA, has sought a legal opinion on the legality of e-hailing service providers in the country. Now, NABTA is concerned that such operators do not comply with the public transport regulations, yet they are allowed to operate in the country. Now, joining us that is to discuss these concerns is NABTA Secretary General Pendapala Nakathingo. Good evening and welcome. That is to BT.
Good evening, ma'am.
All right. Now, as Business Today, we have extended an invitation to the representatives of e-hailing operators in the country to join, that is, in the discussion, but they have indicated that they will do so next week. So once again, welcome to Business Today.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get right into it. Before we get into the depth of the interview, perhaps just talk to us or give us your views on e-hailing.
Well, thank you very much, NBC. And first and foremost, just to say once again, condolences to the Namibian people. We have just lost our president, and may his soul rest in peace. Coming back to the business, you know, as NABTA, the responsible association which is now entrusted to safeguard the public transport sector, you know, we have received numerous complaints from the members in the sector, and also according to our own observation is that there are, you know, many movements within the sector which are also now coming with these new technologies, you know, improvements. What we are receiving from the members is that they are now getting tough time, you know, when it comes to business as, you know, no longer business as usual. So what the complaint comes is that they are now competing with vehicles that are not necessarily having a license to operate, such as permit. And, you know, like in Windhoek, we have the culture that taxis that have to operate legally, they must be identified. That is in terms of the law. And in Windhoek, we have got a numbering system, which is now taxis, legitimate taxis must have numbers. But apart from that, we still have got also shuttles that are registered, not necessary to have the identification numbers, but they must be they must have identification. So in order for the vehicle to be determined or to be regarded as a public transport vehicle, must have a transportation permit. That is in terms of the Namibian law. So which grant permission for that particular individual to charge money from the passengers. Without that, then that particular vehicle or operator is being regarded as illegal.
All right. Now, for someone that just joined in and is wondering or does not know the public transport regulations, can you perhaps just take us through some of that before we continue with this major concern? Well,
maybe what I can say is that, you know, in the industry, in the public transport sector, not just only in Namibia, but elsewhere in the country, you know, there are laws and regulations that need to be followed. Once, if you want to operate a taxi in the country, you have to make an application to a road authority where you have to apply for the transportation permit. But before you apply, you need to have a vehicle. You know, then you have to register your vehicle with NATES so that it can be known. Once you register your vehicle, you need to be issued with an operator card. So thereafter, you now need to have a vehicle fully registered, and then you have to apply. But before you apply even, you need to have your code of conduct that you have to obtain from the police. So it's a process of which one cannot just, you know, escape. So therefore, without that, you cannot just stand up from your home or you get your vehicle, then you start transporting the passengers. So that is basically the regulations and the procedures that need to be followed.
All right. Now, we do understand that NABTA has actually sought, that is, for legal opinion, that is with regards to this concern. Now, can you perhaps just talk to us about the outcomes of this legal opinion?
As I told you that the current situation within the public transport sector is becoming worrisome, and NABTA as a custodianship of the public transport sector, we cannot just watch on and leave it up to the government. We are tasked with that particular responsibility to safeguard the industry. This situation has been coming a long way, and we have decided that we need really to start from somewhere. We need to implement our constitution, and in order for us to protect the business interest of the bus and taxi operators, and that also of the government. Remember, we have placed this responsibility by the government in order for us to safeguard the passengers as well, the safety of the passengers. In terms of the consultation with our legal counsel, we have discussed numerous issues, and in terms of the legal guidance, we have just take that approach, and some of the discussions is still yet internal, but we have really discussed about a number of issues. Some of the issues is that the legality of the operation when it comes to the e-hailing services, comparing to the current laws that guiding or governing the public transport sector. So we come to the point that we are not against with the new developments. So in terms of the safety, security of the passengers, we support that. As I indicated earlier, that we have get an opportunity to discuss with younger management, whereby we have shared the platform and we reach consensus in number of issues. So, but the concern here is the illegal operations. Those who are now using the platform of Yango or InDrive illegally. Mm-hmm. So we have cautioned the colleagues that now have introduced the e-hailing services that mm-hmm. we welcome the move. Mm-hmm. We are, the world is moving, ahead. Yeah. And as NABTA, we really also want to catch up with time.
Yeah, but in this case, are we saying e-hailing is actually illegal?
No, we are not saying e-hailing is illegal. Okay. Probably in terms of the law, okay. E-hailing does not is not yet accommodated in terms of the Namibian laws. There is no law that authorized or permit the e-hailing services to be conducted in Namibia. So, but as such, we have took note of its existence, and we now have to make sure that through the legal process or through the regulations, we must have that establishment to say how now e-hailing can be accommodated within the public transport sector. It is there. It brings improvements, as I said earlier, that in terms of safety and security of the passengers, it is well noted. But when, as per our consultation, which is still, we are in the process of, completing the engagement with our legal counsel. We take it that we do not just want to take legal action per se against these individuals, but it also we want to take a guidance approach. That we have to make sure that we engage them, we engage the government, we make sure that those who are going to use these particular services, they follow the procedures. For instance, the taxi need to be known, need to be legitimate in terms of the transportation permit, because you cannot transport passengers without that authority. Yeah. So coming to that, one of the concern as well when it comes to Yango and InDrive, remember, these are the payment system that now being used by these companies in terms of fee collection, which is now becoming an issue of concern by our members. So because they charge money, and when it comes to, in terms of the law as well, this is now the government that really need to play its part here. When you talk about the system, such as banking system, when you deposit your money in the bank, remember that
your system is being operated by someone. These systems are not operated from here. They're being operated from other countries, meaning that it's like they are robbing the country.
Causing a threat actually now to...
Yes, to our financial system. So that is why NABTA is not just at the level of taxi operation. We are looking at the system, criticality of the system, to say, now they are collecting money from Namibia to go to somewhere else. Now, instead of strengthening the economy of Namibia, we are now empowering the economy of other countries. So that's why, that's one of the concerns. So therefore, we said we will still engage Yango management, including the InDrive and all other e-hailing services. So NABTA has designed or developed the system that ought to be used when these e-hailing services also are being operated in Namibia. And we are appreciating also the efforts from the government, because the government has been busy with consulting the stakeholders, including NABTA, when it comes to formulation of the road transportation bill, which also accommodating the policies and regulations that are going to regulate the entire public transport sector. So having said that, we cannot just watch on, as I said earlier, and leave it to the government. But we are the eyes and ears of the government. We have to make sure that what is happening, we need to address it. We have to attend to it. So that is basically one of the areas of our consultation with our legal counsel.
All right. Now, maybe just talk to us how your members actually feeling about the presence of, that is, the e-hailing service providers introduced in the country.
Remember, NABTA is for all. Yeah, so it's not just necessary to say NABTA is only for the bona fide member or registered members with NABTA. We are placed with the responsibility to safeguard the industry. So the members in the industry, they felt really it's unfair for Yango, for Yango and InDrive to use vehicles that are not regarded or registered as taxis. I can tell you, and you can be shocked even, once you request for the ride, don't be surprised to see a bakkie. Even, Amarok and so forth, a Ranger and so forth. So now, how one can compete with the Mercedes-Benz? Remember, some of these vehicles are company vehicle or vehicles that were bought, these are individuals that are well off.
Absolutely.
Now they are competing with, these individuals that are struggling to earn a living. They don't have work. They don't have qualifications that, qualifies them to have a decent work, but they are trying to earn a living.
Yeah, but you also find now the service users of, the people that operate or use this service or e-hailing service would defend themselves and say, no, it is much safer and convenient for one to use the Yango. What is your opinion on that?
People such as yourself, especially the young individuals, the major thing is that the user of these particular vehicles or services, they don't feel the pain because for them it's just to get into a vehicle. So, but the one who have been struggling to get the permits to get his vehicle registered and NATES and all that, it have costed them a lot. So, and now the bread are just to be taken by someone who doesn't even got anything. Say, for instance, now the shuttle. It is very expensive to operate a shuttle. You have you must have a transportation permit from Roads Authority. You must have also the permit from road transportation. What is this? The permit from what is this? From the board where you have to have the insurance. So, and you need to have it's a complex of documentation that you need to have, and one just stand up register with the Yango system and with a vehicle that does not have all these qualifications and start operating. It's become a threat. So therefore, for the young Namibians or for those who are using now these services, they don't care because they just worry about the comfortability of the Amarok. You know, you feel that comfortable. But this person, even for this individual, knowing exactly that he's operating this taxi illegal, there is no regulations, there is no law that permits a bakkie to be registered as a taxi in Namibia. There's no such a thing, unless or otherwise now from the rural areas, those bakkies that are now taking people from the rural areas to town, but they are not regarded as taxis, but just an alternative transport services.
Now, Mr. Pendapala, we are seeing, and there is absolutely no doubt that e-hailing services will actually dominate in the future. Now, in conclusion, maybe just talk to us about the strategies that NABTA has as an association that is to ensure what your members will remain relevant and in business come the near future, looking at where the world is headed to.
We'll be happy to see the public transport, being dominated or being operated through the e-hailing services. We'll be happy because that's where we are aiming to go. So, but what we are saying is this new improvement must also not just to come from money-making process, but it must come, to improve the living standard of the Namibian people. So, as we said, the taxi industry is an industry that has been neglected for many years. You remember a year ago or 2 years ago, we came with almost the same initiative where we have to, when we introduce NABTA services and benefits. So our aim is to engage these e-hailings service providers so that we can make sure that when they come into the operation, number one, we have to make sure that because there are some commission that being paid to the taxi operators. So this commission need to be designed in a form of in order to cater for the death benefits of the members in the sector, pension benefits, housing benefits, and so forth. So it's not just to say we are against the e-hailing services. We are in support. But we want to, when this service is being introduced, so that it can now improve the living standard of our bus and taxi operators. So, coming to that point, in support of that, number one, we just want the e-hailing services to make sure that they are using the vehicle that are registered legally and have got a transportation permit that authorizes them to collect the revenue from passengers. Secondly, through this platform, we know that once it is properly regulated, it will be also, in terms of fee collection and revenue collection, it will be also assisting the government, and including NABTA, which is now, it will be a platform to make sure that we grow the industry. So on that basis, we are in support of the e-hailing services, only that we want the e-hailing services to use registered taxis, which have got a transportation permit, and to make sure that it follows the laws.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Pendapala, for joining us this evening on this live edition of Business Today.
Thank you.
Well, now, as earlier announced, we have also extended an invitation to the representatives, that is, of e-hailing operators in Namibia, to come and join in the discussion, but they have indicated that they will do so next week. All right, we will be right back after this short break.